on November 2nd, 2016, my son was killed along with his girlfriend and 2 others by a repeat offender on Interstate 94, going 93 miles an hour the wrong way and hit them head on, and he killed 4 people instantly. The drunk driver survived, and the driver of the vehicle that my son was in, he survived with serious injuries, and to this day is still going through rehabilitation. The drunk driver hit 2 cars. This is my son, Clinton Hall, and this is his girlfriend, Katie. Hit 2 cars and killed a 23-year-old Patrick Wasilewski, who originally lived in Northfield, Illinois, but the last 6 months living in Lake Mills. He'd only been in Lake Mills for 6 months, and he was returning home from work. My son and his co-workers were returning from UW La Crosse. They were CPAs. They worked for Ritz Holman in Milwaukee. They were returning after they did a presentation to students up there, and they were just on their way home, and at 10:25 p.m. at night, they were killed. 30 minutes after a man left a bar, double the legal limit, repeat offender, and he killed 4 people. After the shock, which is still shock too, but it's still hard to believe at times. But after this happened, and after his funeral, I saw a story of a man and a child. I think it was down in the Milwaukee area, that area of the state, who had stopped at, he had taken his 9-year-old and 6-year-old to the store. They were on their way home. They stopped to turn into their subdivision and was hit by a repeat offender. The father and the 9-year-old were both killed instantly. So that's when I started searching on what's going on with the state, because I always worried about my son. You know, I worried about bad roads. I didn't know how bad it was out there with the multiple offenders. So my sister and I, Carol Lee Butzine, come up here, we co-founded Eliminate Drunk Driving Education Foundation. And part of our, what we want to do is to educate our youth and others, work with police and schools on the dangers of driving impaired. I cannot believe the families in Wisconsin, you will see it every week, that lose a loved one to a drunk driver. I wanted to bring, there was someone that couldn't make it today, and this is her son, Dylan Thorne, killed July 19th, 2012. He was on his way to work at 1:30 in the afternoon. He had just graduated high school and just was accepted to, he was going to be a firefighter after graduation. He was killed by a drunk driver that crossed the center line. Who's got my other, oh, and this. Jody wanted to be here. Jody Cornahan lost her husband on July 18th, 2017. And they were on a motorcycle. They were on their way back home to Antigo from Iola from a car show. This also was in the afternoon. They were hit by a woman 3 times over the legal limit, multiple offender. Jody wanted to be here today but couldn't because her daughter still has serious medical issues, and she had an appointment to take to her. Her husband was killed instantly. That's all I had for that. But all I can say is one of the reasons I started this is not only to honor my son, Katie, Kim Radke, who was also killed in that car, Patrick Wasilewski, who was killed in that car, and Brian Falk, who survived. Not only doing it for them, but I'm doing it for other families. No one should feel the pain that we are feeling. That is 100% preventable. There is no... Every time I see a story, I can remember every story, every person I talk to. It's just heartbreaking because I know exactly how they're feeling. Exactly. Clinton was my only child, so he only took my son's future. He stole my future, along with the drunk driver stealing everyone's future behind me. So my son didn't get to live out his life. He had a successful career as a CPA at Ritz-Holman in Milwaukee. He had found the love of his life, finally, and everything was just going so good for him, and in a blink of an eye, he's gone. As I talked to a group in Waterloo High School, I told them, nobody is invincible. Everybody thinks it can happen to them, and adults think the same way. Well, it can. And in an instant, your life could be over because of someone's choice to drink and drive impaired. And enough is enough. And besides Wisconsin being the 31st state to make ignition interlock for all offenses, I want Wisconsin to be the 50th state to make OWI a first OWI a misdemeanor.